Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Well, some breaking news has just come out from the Daily Telegraph. Jose Mourinho has been sacked at Tottenham Hotspur after being summoned for talks on Monday morning, less than a week before the Carabao Cup final. I've got three guests with me, Bobby from Hotspur TV, Josh and Dave. Josh, let's come to you first. Jose Mourinho sacked as Tottenham Hotspur boss. There is no official announcement from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club as yet, but this is all over the internet. My phone has gone crazy in the last 10-15 minutes of every contact I have on there talking about Jose Mourinho's sacking. Josh, what do you make of this news?
Well, obviously, for Spurs fans, it's quite shocking, especially after what happened last night with the releasing of the European Super League announcement. However, if you actually think about it, this morning, from what I've read, Jose's gone out there at the training ground and refused to take the players on the pitch, and therefore Daniel Levy's just sacked him. That's the reports that I'm reading. So obviously, Jose as an old football. He's been in football for so long. He doesn't agree with the European Super League, and he's lost his job for it. Obviously, things at Spurs with Jose haven't been going very well for the past months, for quite a long time. So this isn't exactly surprising in that way. However, I think it is surprising in the way that he has gone in this manner. Obviously, we're living through history here. This is historic. Like the past day, this is absolutely crazy as a football fan, as a Tottenham fan, and I'm sure we'll get onto the Super League, but yeah, this is I'm not sure if this is a good decision, to be honest, from Daniel Levy right before a cup final. I would have kept Jose until after the cup final and then see what happened in the Carabao Cup, but yeah, it's shocking. It really is. I'd love to hear what you think, Chris.
Do you know what? I'm very surprised, Josh, if I'm completely honest. You know, we are days away from a Carabao Cup final. I think if you're going to make a decision like this, you do it in the summer. You know, I know a lot of the fan base is very, very divided. You know, lots of people want Jose Mourinho out. You know, the majority of messages from friends and family at the moment and other contacts that I've got on my phone, you know, everyone's saying, thank God for that. You know, good riddance. We don't want him anyway. You know, that's the majority of people at the moment. I know, Bobby, you feel like that as well, don't you? You've never really been a Jose fan, certainly this season.
No, I've not been a Jose fan. Certainly, you know, since September time, since that massive decline in performances and results. But I would have hoped, and I'm going to sound a bit hypocrite. Yes, I wanted Jose out, and I wanted Jose out a few weeks ago. But I would have hoped it would have been purely results, performance, and the lack of achievement he's had within our club. Not because of a domino effect of announcements for the Super League. And from the sounds of it, all allegedly, of course, it does seem like it's the sudden emergence of a potential Super League that has really compounded his job, which I didn't want. You know, I would have liked it purely based on performances and results, but it is what it is. And I said last night, I'm a wait and see. I'm in the wait and see kind of camp, and I'm still there. It's unbelievable.
I just want to state for all of the viewers here that you know, Jose Mourinho sacking, you know, this is just rumours at the moment from lots of media speculation. No official announcement has come out from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. We are expecting that to come out very, very soon. We've also got Dave with us. Dave, what are your thoughts on today's news?
Well, I think it's a good thing. I really do. I think he's lost he reckons he hasn't lost the dressing room, but I don't think players said on Friday night. I was on the show, and I said that he'd lost the fans, and he's lost the players, and they're not playing for him. I'm just surprised that it's obviously come a week before the final. To be honest with you, he might have got the bullet after we'd lost, perhaps, or something like that. But yeah, it brings me back actually to when George Graham was sacked back in I don't know if you remember that, in 2001, 20 years ago. We were going for a semi-final up at Old Trafford against Arsenal, of all teams, and they sacked George Graham and brought Hoddle in for that game, and of course we know what happened in that game. So timing is, is everything, and I just feel that it's not. Yes, I want him to go, and I think we were talking on Friday night that perhaps Harry Redknapp could come in and do a holding job, and I think he'd be brilliant in the dressing room because you do need, he could play a completely different team. You'd have Dele Alli out there, and all the players he's upset will be out there trying to prove a point. So I think it might be a good thing. Gareth Bale, imagine what team that Harry would put out if he can get him back for a couple of months.
Dave, I'll let you know. It's Ryan Mason. Ryan Mason is being reported to be the new manager,
and
interim
Chris Powell
manager
as well, is he?
Oh, interim
coming in as well. Yeah, Powell's coming as well.
So I think we won't be playing any defensive football like Jose.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All the players that he's rubbed up the wrong way are going to be out there on the final, and I think the fans would accept that. The fans will want to see a spectacle. We want to go down a bit like Custer's Last Land. We want to go down with all guns blazing, don't we? We don't want to be sitting there trying to hold on to 1-0 or going. We know what this script is. So, really, you've got to take some positives out of the negatives.
It has just been confirmed. Sorry, Dave. It has just been confirmed by BBC News that Jose Mourinho has been sacked by Tottenham after 17 months in charge. Josh, we want to come to you. As we say, the Carabao Cup final is just days away. It seems a shame, doesn't it, in some respects, that Jose Mourinho has got teams over the line, so many times. He's always won trophies at every single club where he has been. Well, he's not going to get the opportunity to do that. Do you know what? I don't feel sad for Jose Mourinho. I feel very sad as a Spurs fan right now, what's happening at our club. You got this whole thing last night. I went to bed at about 3:30 this morning because, making videos about it, talking about it, just feeling very, very down about what's happening at Spurs at the moment. And now with this news as well, what direction are we going in? I feel frustrated and I feel very sad as a fan right now. Josh, how are you feeling?
I feel shocked at this Jose news. I really wasn't expecting this, and like you, I didn't go to bed until 2:30 last night reading up about this. But I don't know. I think controversially, I think obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's life. But I think this could be a master. This could actually be a masterstroke from Daniel Levy. If football's going in this direction, we can't be left behind. We can't be left behind. If they did create this Super League and we were like a Leicester or a West Ham just sitting below those teams, we'll lose all of our good players. We'll just become a nothing club. And I think you've got to look at this whole Super League proposition with two hats on, as a Spurs fan and as a football fan. And as a football fan, my heart is telling me this is not a good idea. Like, come on now, it's getting rid of competition. You're playing into the hands of the owners who some say are greedy. It's all about money. But if you think about it logically, the game has been about money for 20 plus years. Since Wenger came in and he changed the game and made it more competitive.
Yeah, but this is on a new level, Joe.
I know this is completely on a new level. But as a Spurs fan, I mean, the amount of if you've read the club statement, the amount of investment this is going to give us, and the guaranteed European football. I mean, although it's very unethical, it's completely unethical, and it's not very good in terms of the love of the game. But there are positives and negatives to it.
Well, it has just been announced by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. They have just tweeted the club can today announce that Jose Mourinho and his coaching staff have been relieved of their duties. That is official. That is an official statement from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Jose Mourinho is no longer Tottenham Hotspur manager. Dave, thoughts on that?
Well, like I said, it's timing, really. I mean, perhaps he said something. I mean, as Josh seems to know a little bit more you know, he seems to have his finger on the pulse there about him not taking the training. You can't have that, really. And you can't refuse to work. And really, you can't just down tools. So he's given him no option. So he's obviously had a falling out over this Super League. But I'm not in agreement with it. I mean, Josh is saying about this movie, you know, we don't want to get left behind. But, you know, I'm more of a traditionalist. And I respect the pyramid. And you only get into competitions. Used to be a European Cup. You only got into it if you won the league. I mean, we only ever got into it once. Yes, they've changed it to a new format, but it's still doable to get into the top four, get into the Champions League. But this way, you're just inviting teams. I mean, they might be bottom of their league. I mean, Arsenal could be bottom, we could be bottom, and still be invited to European football, which isn't right, I don't think. You know, what aspirations, you mentioned Leicester and West Ham, what aspirations have they got, you know, to sit at the top table? You know, I mean, Leicester did win the league and they got in there, and, you know, they would have got there on the old format. So, no, I'm not in agreement with it whatsoever. I just think it's going down a route. You're going down the, you know, this dangerous route with no relegation, and all that breeds is complacency. You're taking the fans for granted, and I think there will be a revolt. I mean, you know, a friend of mine has asked about joining a petition against it as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not in agreement at all, and perhaps Mourinho, and we don't know what the conversation was, but I mean, it's only speculation, but perhaps he did, you know, he shouldn't just down tools, because really he's employed by the club, and he's, you know, he's an employee, and he's got to carry on what he's doing. So he's either resigned or what, but it just seems.
I just wanted to come in there, Dave. William's asking, has it been confirmed? It has now been confirmed by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club that Jose Mourinho is no longer Tottenham Hotspur manager. In the official club statement is a short one. It says Ryan Mason will take first team training today, and a further update will follow in due course. Daniel Levy is quoted here in saying as well that Jose Mourinho will always be welcome here, and we should like to thank him and his coaching staff for their contribution. Bobby, you know, it's been confirmed by Spurs now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we can't get away from the fact, Chris, that there was a massive clout for Jose to go, purely based on footballing reasons. And I'll stand by that. You know, Jose, rightly, in my eyes, has been sacked. I think what's going to cloud this sacking is the fact that it's come so soon after, you know, the announcement yesterday. And in a perverse kind of way, maybe the media moguls at Tottenham have probably sat back and think, you know what, if we're going to do it, let's do it now. Let's do it now, because let's get it all out. Nothing worse than having a headline such as a pending Super League on the horizon or out yesterday, and then a week later sacking Jose. It just would have. The thing is, it would have been too much too soon. So I think there must have been a ploy of getting it done today as well. Plus, obviously, the rumours are that, like Josh just said, you know, there's Jose and Levy and the board haven't seen eye to eye this morning, and if that's the case, then there's only going to be one decision.
The thing is, Bobby, it's years away. They're talking 2020. You know, you're talking 3 or 4 years away. It's not going to happen overnight, and I don't see why he's thrown his toys out the pram, presumably.
Well, the Super League will probably start next season, Dave. That's the thing. The proposal is to start it ASAP, so it could come into fruition as soon as next season.
I thought they were talking about, you know, 2 or 3 years away, because we're in the middle. There's no fans in the ground at the moment. I mean, nobody knows what's going. It's all, you know, a lot of it is the timing. Seems weird to me. But you know, as I say, you're taking fans for granted, and it's a very dangerous. They're taking a very dangerous road, I think. Myself, but that's just my opinion.
Well, Dave, we've said many times about Jose Mourinho getting teams over that line.
Yeah.
Well, we never know now. And as I said earlier,
and he's now not going to get the opportunity to do that, is he?
No, and I think the timing is poor. You know, we had all this when George Graham got sacked for that semi-final, when the FA Cup did mean something 20 years ago. You know, people did. You know, us fans still love the FA Cup, and to put Hoddle in, you know, days before a semi-final, it's the same. To my mind, it's the same thing. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. You know, you could, you know, really. Yes, we're all, you know, hoping for the best, but you know, why give yourself an excuse to lose?
The picture is so much bigger now, though, isn't it? Today, Josh and everyone. The bigger picture back then was obviously a manager getting sacked just before a semi-final, but the bigger picture is so much bigger. The ramifications, the potentials, the pendings of certain things, the landscape of football changing, and the football will change. The football as we know it is going to change, and just a minuscule of news of that includes Jose being sacked. That's why I think it was there might be a bit of a clever employment of the news.
Bobby, not for the good, if you ask my opinion, because you take away relegation. You take away any pitfalls, then I think you're just going to get complacent. You're going to get more of the Everton sort of game where
you'll get more of that, Dave. You'll get more of that. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, but will fans turn up for that sort of stuff?
Exactly.
You know, we don't want to see exhibition matches, and really, this is what we're going to. Yeah, we don't want to watch exhibition matches. Years ago, you used to have the foreign teams coming over before we had all the European matches, and yes, they used to put on an exhibition. Is that really what you want? Just to see a team going through the motions? Not for me. I'll be signing the petition. I don't mind upsetting Levy.
Josh, let's come to you. Danny writes on the screen there. Harsh, given he has just qualified Spurs for the European Super League. Danny writes here. There is another comment here somewhere. Danny writes here. What have we done before a final is unforgivable. For those people who have just joined us, Jose Mourinho has been sacked. It has been confirmed by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Josh, are you surprised by this timing? Whatever's happened on the training ground this morning, you know, we're hearing reports and rumours that he didn't want to take the training session. Whatever we're hearing about that, is this bad timing? Particularly, you know, we're going into this League Cup final in just a few days' time.
Yeah, well, it is silly timing, isn't it? Jose was brought in to win us trophies. That's what Jose does. He's won a trophy at every club he's been at, and we've sacked him right before a cup final. Our best opportunity to win a trophy for quite a long time. It's like, I don't really understand what's the point of bringing in Jose if we're just going to sack him right before a cup final. And he's only lost like one cup final before, so we could have beat City with Jose in charge, and he could have delivered a trophy. So obviously something drastic has happened, because you don't sack a manager like Jose a week before a cup final on Monday morning. And the only thing that you can link it to is this European Super League, obviously with the reports that we've already spoken about. But yeah, obviously Daniel Levy's made this tough decision. We know that he's ruthless. He will make decisions like this. We know what he did to Poch. Poch didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to the players. So we know he's got this in him, and obviously he sees it fit that it will be the right decision to sack Jose even before a cup final. And the only thing that I can think of is that this cup final is meaningless with all of this. Obviously, Bobby said that the football landscape is changing, and he's thrown this cup final away. He doesn't care, and it does kind of show that it's obviously all about the money, which is not good. And I totally agree with what Dave said. Obviously, football is changing, and it probably is for the worse. But the only thing I can think of, as I said, as a counter argument, is that we can't afford to be left behind. We really can't, because we're going to lose all of our good. No more Harry Kane, no more Son. We won't be watching them. They'll be off in the Super League. They'll be wanting to play it in that league with all the others. And I think, obviously, I've read some opposition. UEFA and Premier League came out saying we're going to ban all the players from the World Cup who take part in the Super League. We're going to ban these clubs from participating in domestic trophies. I don't think they can do that, because the number one thing that you do in finance is you can't bite off the hand that feeds you. The Premier League, 99% of their income comes from the top 6. They're not going to relegate them or anything. Like, that's just silly. That's just a baseless threat, in my opinion, in opposition to the Super League. But obviously, we are living through some tumultuous times there. It is very, very shocking.
Josh, in the short club announcement they've put out, they've mentioned Jose and his coaching staff that have been relieved of their duties. Ledley King hasn't been listed there. Do you expect Ledley King to stay at the club and with the coaching staff for the rest of the season? At least,
yeah, I really hope Ledley stays. I mean, he doesn't deserve to be sacked. And I hope he can help Ryan Mason and Chris Powell. Obviously, he's a legend at this football club. He's only got one knee, Ledley, and he needs to be part of this next era, because he's an important part of our football club.
Yeah. Dave, let's come to you now. The Everton game 2-2 draw. The TV camera zoomed in to Daniel Levy sat there in the stands, and I jokingly said after the game on this channel, I said he's texting another manager. He's lined up another manager already.
Yeah.
It was a joke. It was a joke, but he probably was, wasn't he?
He probably was, yeah. I mean, he saw what was going on in that game, and he was he was deflated as everybody else watching it. I think 2 pieces of Harry Kane brilliance, otherwise it would be a 2-0 defeat. Not good, and really, he's ruthless. He's done it now. I think, obviously something was said on the training ground or what, or he summoned. I mean, Levy summoned him to either to Lily White House or wherever it was, and we've had an outburst, and there he is. He's gone. So he obviously hadn't got Harry Redknapp on speed dial, had he? He's just got Ryan Mason there taking over. But it's going to go one or two ways, isn't it? It's going to be a disaster. We're going to get something out of nothing. But I mean, not good. I mean, not on past experience. It doesn't bode well. But they are, as Josh said, he's only lost one final, and we could have kept him for another week. But obviously, it was untenable. So. There you are. Then we got all the names are going to be banded around for who's going to take over permanently. So I don't know. Someone's got to come on board with this Super League. So you don't know what the managers think as well, do you? So everyone's got their own opinions, and if it all falls flat, you don't know. I mean, the Germans haven't come into this, and the French haven't come in, so. You're you're polarising the game. I mean, China had a Super League. I mean, it's just for old codgers at the end of their careers going over to China to make a few bob. Is that what we want here? I don't know. You had years ago in cricket, the Kerry Packer circus, and they all went off and went and toured South Africa and all that. I mean, that was a disaster. It was a disaster for their careers and things. And you've got to be careful what you wish for on these things. So I think there's still got a lot of talking to be done, and it's got to be ironed out, because you've only got Spanish and Italian and English teams at the moment. They're obviously after Bayern Munich or one of them, and PSG, to make up the set, as it were. But the German, I was reading, the German model, it doesn't, it's for 49% not total ownership, and it's only 49%, and they have to agree with the fan. And I don't think the fans are going to go for it. I mean, they've gone off. All these owners are overseas owners. They're billionaires, and all they can see, and then as Josh just said about the money, and Bobby said this is the money, but if you got all that money and there's no one watching it, then it's all going to fall flat on its face, and you get very bad publicity.
Well, that's a great time to bring in John's question. If the European Super League actually happens, then I don't care who is a new manager, because I won't be watching anymore. Now, looking on social media last night, Bobby, let's come to you. Looking on social media last night about everyone's opinions on the European Super League, regardless of whether Jose Mourinho's here or not, or indeed another manager. What are your thoughts on this European Super League? Because a lot of people are dead against it.
Yeah. It's the unknown factor, isn't it, Chris? I think we still need to educate ourselves. We still need to know the ins and outs. People are mistaken, probably thinking that if the European Super League comes in, we won't be seeing Premier League football anymore.
Yeah, well said.
What's happening is the Premier League is still the ideal model. Is the Premier League still stays? The Premier League still stays, and essentially the Super League just replaces the Champions League. So whereas now we've got the 8 groups of 4, etc., and the teams in there, it becomes one big league, the European League, and towards the end of the season, the top 4 go into the playoff, i.e. the semi-final, then the top 2 win the European Super League. What it does mean also that we don't compete in any of the domestic cups, i.e. the FA Cup or the League Cup. So people who are worried about the Premier League going, it's not. We're still competing in the Premier League. Unfortunately, what it does mean, the big 6 are going to get mighty rich. I mean, 350 million just to sign dotted paper, onto the dotted line, and then combined with that, we've got TV revenue that will be coming in. I'm sure that will be renewed as well, looked at. So, what do I think about it? I'm still a wait and see kind of guy. I still want to be educated about it. I still need to know what's the ins and outs of it. As long as I still have my Spurs, my Spurs has been loitering for the last few months under Jose and the board. They'll be in the wilderness. I want my Spurs back, and if in a miraculous kind of weird kind of way, by doing this, I might get my Spurs back. I'm quite happy for it, but at this moment, Chris, I have no idea, mate. Absolutely no idea.
A number of people are saying, has this been confirmed? Yes, it has been confirmed by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Jose Mourinho has been sacked as Tottenham Hotspur boss. Ryan Mason will take charge of the first team training today, and a further update will follow in due course. It'd be interesting to see who will take charge for the Southampton game, and indeed the League Cup final on Sunday. Now, what really saddens me as a Tottenham Hotspur fan, if I take you all back to November 2019, we sacked fans' favourite Mauricio Pochettino. I'm a huge fan of Mauricio Pochettino. He took us to a Champions League final, didn't spend a penny in 518 days. You felt at that time when Poch went, people said to me, who would you like to see as manager? And I said Jose Mourinho. And I know it upset a lot of people. Now, the reason why I said Jose Mourinho is the fact that he's got teams over that line. He's won trophies every single place that he's ever been, and especially in his first full season at a club, i.e. this season. It just seems to me now, you sack a manager like Poch, and we're now in April 2021. And my attitude now, it's almost like, well, what was the point? What was the point in doing that? Because Pochettino, under his management, I always felt that we had a plan. I always felt that he would be our long-term manager. And I always felt that, there would be a day when he got us over that line, put trophies in the cabinet. As soon as one come, the others would follow. Daniel Levy and the board made this decision, and they wanted to bring in Jose Mourinho, a serial winner, to get us over that line. Well, that has proved today that is not the case. Josh, for you, does it feel like a waste of time?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I mean, like I said earlier, you bring Jose in to win trophies, and we sacked Poch because he couldn't even give us top 4, and now top 4 doesn't even mean anything anymore. So it does feel like a waste of time. It's such a shame because we did go so far with Pochettino. The transformation that he kind of gave us at Spurs. I remember watching Tottenham under Poch, and it was so enjoyable. And as Bobby said, in recent months under Jose, it's been a slog. It's been horrible. It really has. It's not been a nice watch. And a lot of people said, "Oh, we sold our soul getting Jose in to win a trophy. We've sold out. Like we're not playing the Tottenham way." And if you think about it, we haven't. We haven't been playing attacking football. We haven't been playing on the front foot. We haven't been playing like to dare is to do, have we? It's been horrible. It really has been horrible. We have gone backwards, as Peter says. We're so backwards, terribly backwards. I think some of the stats that came out, we've got the worst stats in the league for bottling games in the second half. Like we go 1-0 up in the first half, and then we're 20th in the league for dropping points in the second half. That's shocking. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. So yeah, we have gone backwards since we sacked Pochettino, and it wasn't a good idea because look at him now. He's at PSG and he's doing so well. He's doing so well. He's in a Champions League semi-final. He could get to a final and even win it and prove everyone wrong after what happened in the Champions League final against Liverpool for us. So yeah, it does feel like a waste of time with Jose coming in because he comes in to win a trophy. Oh, go on, Bobby, go on.
No. So I was just going to say there is like Chris has just said and yourself have just said, it's been a waste of time getting Jose in. Personally, the argument can be made that he's wasted our time. You know, he's not. I mean, I made the argument the other day on my stream, and I asked the question, genuine question: what has Jose improved this season? And nothing. I cannot. And a lot of people saying, "Oh, Kane has made Kane a better." No. You put Kane in centre back, he'll become your player of the year. That's how good Kane is. Sonny has just progressed like naturally has been doing. So, for me, I'm not surprised Jose's gone today. I think it's the timing of it that's made it a bit more controversial and a bit more standoutish. I'm quite happy for Jose to be sacked today. I personally think he doesn't deserve to have a shot at the cup final. He hasn't justified his time at Spurs in my eyes, to me, and this is my own opinion. He hasn't justified any form of money to be spent in the summer. He's not progressed us. He's got no identity. We don't have an identity under Jose. We didn't build one under Jose. We don't even have a strong 11. We don't have a starting formation. We don't have any. He did nothing for us during the 18 months. So in a way, and this is my own opinion, I'm glad he's gone before the cup final, because if he had won the cup final, he would have turned around and says, "There you go. My time at Spurs has been a success." Where we all know he's failed. Well, in my opinion, he has failed, and he's failed miserably.
Bobby, I know Jose Mourinho has won all these trophies, which we can talk about, for hours on end. His past history is absolutely superb at other clubs. Are you surprised? He took over at the club in November 2019. Why he's won so many trophies is that he builds his teams on his defence. An excellent defence. He's never done that at Spurs. Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, no, because we've got poor players, Chris, and I've always said, the board are just as much as to blame, and the players are poor. The players are poor, but when a manager of his clout comes in, I don't care if he's got 26 or 260 trophies on his CV. He's coming because of his great reputation. But for 18 months in, even with average poor players, and I'll argue with that because there's about 8. For me, players in the team who would better any top 4 team, but that's a different argument altogether. But for him to come in and 18 months in, not find an identity or a way of playing or a formation and change formations, last game, for example, to continue to do that, for me, doesn't justify it. And I agree, and I've always said, I know we've got average players, poor players, our defence isn't good enough. But still, in my eyes, I believe a different manager could come in and he would have got better out of these players. And I use West Ham as an example. Yes, better team, better players, absolutely not.
Dave, how are you feeling? How would you sum up Jose Mourinho's time at Tottenham Hotspur?
Probably an experience. It hasn't been a great watch. He started off, with all good intentions. We had a little bounce, and he got us into the Europa League on the last day of the season. Yes, he improved the league position from when. I mean, the fact of the matter is our league form had fallen off a cliff from previous February. We lost all those away matches. We just scraped into 4th place on the last day of the season, if you remember. And you know, then we started off with then Mourinho came in, and then we just about scraped into the Europa League, and we had a little bout. We had a little got to the top of the league in December, but since then the wheels have come off. It's been a roller coaster. Let's face it. With Mourinho, it's been a roller coaster. But I mean, he hasn't played Gareth Bale. He hasn't played. He's not interested. All he's done. He's been upsetting all the established players. Dele Alli, Gareth Bale. You know, all the fans' favourites have been, he's been on an ego trip, and what he's done is trying to rub players up the wrong way. So the legacy is that the shackles can be off now. He's gone, and really we can see what those players can do for sure. There will be a big sorted out in the summer. There's got to be, because the dead wood down there has been waiting to be sorted out for 2 years. Even back to the Poch era. So,
David, I just want to bring in David from the Irish Hotspur. David, thanks so much for joining us. Breaking news this morning that Jose Mourinho has been sacked. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no problem. Sorry about joining late, Chris. I was in bed when the outlet rang me with the news and that. Look, I actually said after the Everton game, I came out after the Everton game and I said, look, I think it's probably time up. Funny enough, Chris, like you were saying already, when I was watching the game, I was doing a watch along and I seen him on his phone, and I was thinking then, maybe he's pulling the plug here. But look, the problems are still at Tottenham. All the problems I've spoke about are still going to be here, regardless.
Yeah, it's a very good point by David here with this super chat. Levy has cost Spurs so much money, paying off Pochettino, failing to get Champions League football, hiring Jose Mourinho. Now you're paying him off. That money should have been spent on the rebuilding of the Pochettino team. I've already said this. It seems like we've gone round in a complete circle, like you're saying there, Bobby. We're going round in circles here, aren't we?
We're look. I don't know where we're going here. I remember speaking to you a while ago, Chris, and saying, look, we're a club with no direction. And it's fully true. To do it before a cup final, don't understand it. I actually thought it probably would have happened after the cup final, to be honest with you, regardless. But to do it before the cup final, I don't understand the thinking or the logic behind it, to be honest with you, because now you're going. I think Ryan Mason's in charge now, along with Chris Powell. So they're going to have to come in, probably put in a new system, new way of playing, and get the players up to speed before a cup final. It's going to be a big ask,
Are you surprised though, David? Are you actually surprised that it's happened today? Because if you told me that this would happen next week, whether we won the League Cup or not, I don't think I'd be surprised at all. But I'm very surprised myself by the timing.
Yeah, no, I'm very surprised by the timing. To be honest with you, look, it's not ideal with the European Super League announcement yesterday, the sacking of our manager today, and I'm just surprised by it all. To be honest with you, I would have at least given him the cup final, you know what I mean, and then pull the plug, or even until the end of the season and then pull the plug, because look, Tottenham, it's been a very hard watch this year, and. Like with West Ham dropping points, I know we're 5 points, but we're still chasing down a Europa League spot and all for European football next year. So look, I'm not happy with the timing, to be honest with you. If they were going to do it, why not do it earlier and then give another manager a chance to come in and give him manager bouts? Why wait? Why wait until now?
Yeah. Let's bring in Josh here from the Spurs debate. Josh, welcome to the channel. Breaking news this morning that Jose Mourinho has been sacked. How are you feeling?
A bit shocked and a bit relieved. I think we'll only find out if it was the right decision over the next few games based on how the team performs. And I think the response from the team will almost let us know what was really going on. Because if we see a huge bounce back and we finish the season high or on a good, finish with a few wins, maybe not top 4. If we do top 4, great. It was the best decision Levy's made in a long time. But if we go on to win the cup this Sunday and we put a few wins together, I think everyone's going to have to sit there and accept that probably had to be done. And it was getting to a point where it just became untenable, which is the big word in football, isn't it, when you sack someone? And, you know, I think that the next few games would tell us what was really happening behind the scenes and how the players were feeling, or how the dynamic was with Jose in charge. So I think, you know, we'll all get the answers over the next coming days and weeks now, and we'll all see if players like Dele Alli or Gareth Bale or certain players that Jose didn't quite fancy are suddenly up for it. But the big question mark is, are they just going to show up for a few games, or do these players actually need to be removed from the club? Because Jose has been sort of highlighting that there are people at the club that shouldn't really be there, and they're not winners or leaders. So I think, you know, he highlighted that for us, and you know, we'll soon find out if these guys are prima donnas or if they're proper players that want to give it their all for Spurs.
Josh, Peter writes here on a super chat, so thanks very much, Peter. Who now, guys? Bring in Harry Redknapp until the end of the season. He could G the boys up and get them on a run and get us into the Champions League. Who do you want to see as next Tottenham Hotspur boss?
I think on that question, he knows what he's doing with that. Harry Redknapp with cup finals. He's won cup finals. He's got Tottenham into the Champions League, and he's got hundreds and hundreds of Premier League games under his belt with different clubs. So he does know the league, and he does know how to put a result together and G the boys up. So it's not the worst shout in the world. It really isn't. I know it's a little bit going over old ground, because you think, why do we want to bring Harry Redknapp back? You know, that story's had its kind of its outcome, but that's not the worst shout in the world. I think we've got to sit down and look at managers across Europe that can work with youth. I think the youth part for me is very important, Chris. Players like Jaffet, Ryan Sessegnon, Ollie Skip, Reguilon's young, you know, you've got so many, and Scarlett. And these players need a coach around them, or coaching staff around them, that can work with their qualities, but also bring them on. I speak to a lot of football coaches that coach 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds. And it's tough because you're working with raw talent, and we need someone that can work with raw talent. You know, unfortunately for Jose Mourinho, we just didn't have all the ready-made jigsaw pieces that he's probably used to putting together at Chelsea and United. I mean, I put a tweet up the other day. He spent 700 million on transfer spend with Chelsea over 2 spells, and he spent over 300 million with Man United. That's $1 billion in transfer spend. We're just not going to do that, Chris. Me, you, and everyone knows. Even your pro-Levy, your biggest Levy fans will concede we're not going to spend the sort of money that Jose Mourinho is used to spending. So we need someone who can come in and work with youth and raw talent, and get players to improve very quickly under their leadership. So I think a manager like, you know, Nagelsmann has been mentioned a lot. You know, he works with youth. You look at managers in the Premier League. Bielsa, you know, is working with young, raw talent at Leeds. I know defensively it's a nightmare at Leeds. But we need someone who can work with youth. That would be my staple criteria. Someone who has won whatever they've won in their domestic leagues in Europe or cups. But I need someone who can work with youth, Chris, because we have actually got some good youngsters coming into the squad next season, and we need to get the best out of these boys and develop them. So that would be my number one criteria on the list, is being able to work with young players.
Chris, my 6-year-old's just busted his nose open. I think it's a stress of supporting Spurs, so I'm going to jump off. And if you guys are still on, I'll pop back in a bit. Is that okay, buddy?
I hope it's all right. Thank you.
But yeah, what a chance for Ryan Mason. Hey, come on.
Yeah.
Speak to you soon.
Dave, I want to come to you now. In most of your videos that you've been putting out this year, you know, you end them in Jose we trust. You know, you must, you know, you're a big Jose Mourinho fan, back in the manager. You must be gutted this morning.
To be honest with you, Chris, after the Everton game, I kind of accepted it. To be honest with you, I kind of knew it was going to happen. Gutted in terms of what direction do we go in? Are we going to go backwards? I'm gutted in that terms. But look, I'm Tottenham Hotspur first and foremost. I want what's best for my club. In terms of Jose, look, I do believe he's tried to get the best out of this group of players. Like, along with my defence of Jose, a lot of it has been because I do believe a lot of these players are not good enough, and I still maintain that. I still believe no matter what manager you come in, we're still going to need a clear out, and a lot of these players are just dead at this club. Look, we have to remember, it's not just Pochettino, some of these players, or Mourinho, some of these players that got sacked. It was the great Pochettino as well. So for me, the problems are still there. But in terms of Bielsa, look, I'm not sure Bielsa is the answer, you know. Look, Bielsa, we're talking, like, when we had Jose in charge, people were talking about we want to sack Jose and get someone that's going to come in and work with these players. Well, with Bielsa coming in, you think these players are going to go through his training tactics when half of them were complaining about Poch's near the end? None of them are going to go through Bielsa's rigorous training patterns. And for me, like, you know, the reason why Bielsa hasn't had a very, very top job at the minute is because he knows he can't get some of the best players in the world to do his training methods. And if he walks into Tottenham, them players aren't going to do his training methods. No way.
Mm.
The thing he has the famous murder ball at Leeds. He puts them through their paces. You know what I mean? Just watch the documentary that is on Amazon. It'll tell you everything you need to know. There's no way these players will perform for Bielsa.
Mm.
No, don't forget, our players aren't fit though, David. The thing is, that's why we're not lasting 95 minutes. We're going into the second half, and we're running out of puff. You know, and you know, we have Pochettino's teams used to run for 95 minutes. How often did we used to score in the last minute, the last 3 minutes? You know, Mourinho's fitness levels have been very poor. You know, and the stats bear that out. And we touched on that on Friday night after the game. You know,
I agree with that. To be honest with you, like I do think fitness is probably a problem, but with Bielsa, like half the players were fed up with Pochettino's training routine and everything else. That's partly the reason why he went. You know, some of these players they're just too happy at this club, and to me, they have too much power. They have too much power. We need to get rid of some of these players and look. See, it's hard right now because we don't know what direction we're going to go in. You know, the direction is important from here on in. I just think if we get Bielsa,
that's the worry, David, isn't it? That's the worry that I have as a Spurs fan now. The direction. What direction are we going in? Because everything seems to be, you know, a mess, really. You know, we've got Southampton on Wednesday night, just in 48 hours' time. We've got the Cup final coming up. Brian Mason's taking charge of training today. You know, will a new manager come in before the end of the season? Will a new manager come in the summer? You know, we've got all this business about the Super League as well. The fans aren't happy with the style of play that we've been playing under Jose Mourinho. I know Jose's now gone, but you know, as a fan, and I've said already about Pochettino, it seems like we've gone round in this huge circle. And really, you know, when you think back to the day in November 2019 when Pochettino left, you know, what work Jose Mourinho has done, has he left the club in a worse state than when he arrived?
Well, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't know. You know, I don't know. I think we are just. I think we're back where we are when we sacked Pochettino. But this route that where we go down now is very, very important, because either we're going to end up losing Harry Kane and Son this summer, and we're going right back to the Martin Yole era and trying to restart again and build everything up again. Or else now we have a chance where we can bring in a manager that the board fully believe in, that the board are actually going to back this time. It doesn't have to be like multi millions, like, you know, it doesn't have to be 100 million odd, but you know, there is ways of doing it. We can sell players and stuff like that, but whatever manager we bring in has to be back this time, and he has to be allowed to clear out a lot of this dead wood, because if not, the next manager is going to be thrown under the bus, and we're going to see the same thing. I can understand people calling
it, David. Pochettino should have been backed. Lots of people said Jose Mourinho needs backing.
Yeah.
You know, what is going to change?
I don't know, to be honest with you. If anything needs to change, it needs to be Levy's business model, to be honest. Look, it was great up until now where it's got us with the stadium and the training complex and everything else. But in terms of the football structure side of the club, down to the recruitment, everything else, that needs to be changed in order for us to kick on to the next level.
Josh Cameron, let's come to you. You know, Gary's full speed writes here. It's all kicking off everywhere this morning. Keith writes here, 17 different centre-back pairings this season. You know, it is a clear problem, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very clearly. I mean, in that Everton game, we literally start playing 5 at the back. All of a sudden, just completely changed formation again. New centre-back pairings, totally different. It clearly wasn't working under Jose. He was trying every single formation under the sun because it wasn't working. and obviously lost the dressing room. And as I think Josh said himself, this is probably a good move for Tottenham to just restart and get another manager in. And actually, we need to move forward. You say that we're not sure what the kind of direction that the football club is going in. Are we going downhill? Are we going into a bit of a trouble phase? But I think the one thing about this Super League is that it actually brings a bit of stability, because we're just guaranteed European football. You can have these opinions. Like everyone, you might say, oh, it's completely unfair, unethical, it's terrible football, ruins the football pyramid. However, for Tottenham, it's guaranteed £350 million a year of investment. That means no stadium debt, because we're in £1.2 billion of debt. That means that we can actually...
It doesn't mean that we're spending money on the pitch, though, Josh. It doesn't guarantee that, does it?
No.
Do you not think if we go to the European Super League, we're going to be absolutely embarrassed? We can't even beat Brighton.
And we lost 3-0 to Dynamo Zagreb in the Europa League, a competition that was expected that we would go very far in. Now, when you see our North London rivals Arsenal in the semi-finals, it just makes us feel gutted. We should be there.
Mm.
I don't know, Chris. I don't think we should be there. We were awful, mate. That we need to stop saying should have, could have, would have. That's that needs to go from the top to the bottom of the club. There's too much. It's not my problem. It's Jose. It's Levy. It's whoever it is. There needs to be, and I agree with you guys. There needs to be an overhaul in mentality from top to bottom, especially with this Super League. That gives us an opportunity to step this club up. And really become a super club, because I wouldn't even say we're a super club, and we think we're going to be a super club up there with the not the PSGs, but the Cities and the Madrids and the Barcelonas, whoever's going to be part of this league, etc. So we need to start acting like a super club and stop calling ourselves that we're not part of the elites. We're not in the Champions League. We couldn't even stay in the Europa League. But I think we have to distinct that when we say we as a club, a lot of that responsibility is down to the elements all coming together. So that, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, is the coaching staff. We is the badge, and that never changes, and the fans never change. But the other bits are movable, and the movable bits are the bits that get it right or wrong. And this is where, when we say we have to look at the management from Levy and the coaching staff, because if they get it right, all of a sudden we are a club on the up. But they get it wrong, and we're not a club on the up. So for me, I think it's really important that we look at this from a point that it's all changeable. Everything's changeable, because if you change a manager, you can get a new philosophy in. It is unfortunately, whether we like it or not, football is very variable like that. Pochettino came and he changed the way we play. We're just talking about how we were running down every ball and we were, attacking to the last minute.
He was allowed to get rid of 12 players to implement that, though.
Absolutely, absolutely, David.
Situation here now.
I think what's really important is that Levy realizes he's made a mistake in Mourinho, and it's fine to make mistakes. Every chairman makes mistakes throughout their whole career as a chairman. You're not going to get one chairman that doesn't make a mistake. So it's fine to buy players that, weren't right for the club, or have a manager that wasn't right for the club. But what's really important is that Levy's learning from his mistakes. That is not backing Poch in the window. I'm sure Levy regrets that. I'm sure as a human being, he regrets not backing Pochettino, because he's probably sitting there thinking, I've just lost 15 odd million quid on Jose or whatever it is. And if I just backed Poch in the windows, what could have been and what would have been? But let's just hope Levy's learnt from it, Chris, because if he's learnt from it, then we've all kind of made a small step forward. So he doesn't do that with the next manager when the manager's doing well, because you're supposed to back your manager, not just when they're doing badly. That's when they really need you, but especially when they're doing well. I mean, that's the best time to back anyone. You back a good horse, and you didn't back Pochettino. And I hope Levy's learnt from that. And I hope he's sitting there, regretting the last 19, 18, 20 months, thinking if I just backed him, we could have still been a top 4 club. And you can see what Pochettino's doing with PSG, quite quickly. So I just hope Levy's learnt from all of this whole Jose experiment, because I think it was a bit of a dream for him. And then he realised, no, Mourinho's just not going to walk in and change everything. You've got to invest, in the squad. And he didn't do that with Poch. He didn't necessarily do that with Jose. Jose didn't help himself. But let's just hope Levy's learnt from this experience.
Josh, let's stay with you. David writes a super chat here. The problem is Daniel Levy never gets the players or managers' identity. Most players are club signings. Surely things have to change, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, transfer policy and spend is down to Levy and Hitchin and anyone else involved in that. They need to start acting like a super club or an elite club. You can't be a top 4 club if you don't start acting like a top 4 club. So whilst we want to spend less than our rivals and finish above them, it's never going to happen, Chris. So again, with from top down management, they all need to start acting like a big club. Otherwise, just act like a mid-table club. If you're going to spend like a mid-table club, then expect to be a mid-table club. So for me, this is huge now. This is huge for Levy. He's had the most decorated manager in the Premier League and in world football, to be fair, come and fail where he's never failed before. And a lot of it was his own doing, Chris. I think Jose, a lot of this was his own doing. He didn't help himself. But, Levy's probably sitting there thinking, right, where do I go now? I've gone for the best available and I've still failed. So he really needs to have a look at how he backs the next manager and how he treats him and how he starts behaving. Because if we want to behave like an elite club, then we need spending and actually, putting the money behind the talking, because that's where I think we're going wrong, mate, is we're not acting like a super club, but we all think we're a super club or an elite club. And that's the gap for me, mate. We need to cross.
Let's go to the other Josh. Josh, I just want your opinion now. I've been saying it all season. I know a lot of people on this channel that come on say that they wanted Jose out. I never said I wanted Jose out or Jose in. I was very much on the fence, because the way that I saw it is the fact that you bring someone like Mauricio Pochettino in. He did a fantastic job, delivered Champions League football year in, year out, took us to that Champions League final. I could rave about Pochettino all day. Huge fan of him. Then you bring in a serial winner, like Josh has just said there. You bring in a serial winner, someone who's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, won everything in the land. If it doesn't work with one of the best coaches out there in Pochettino, and if it doesn't work with a proven winner like Jose Mourinho, what is next for Spurs?
Oh, I totally agree with you. We've tried both ways, haven't we? Obviously, Poch and Jose are very different managers. And with this set of players, if neither of them can succeed, then who can? Which is what we have said, and I do agree with you, Chris. It's not all Jose's fault, but I think he is partially responsible, or significantly responsible, for what's happened over the past 6-7 months, where we have gone backwards. I don't think anyone can say we haven't, because of the football that we see as fans on the TV. As I've said before on this channel, I think the situation would be very different if there were fans in the stadium. The kind of atmosphere would I think Jose would have been forced out a long time ago, because the football has been unacceptable. We wouldn't have accepted this football under Pochettino. And as you said before, Pochettino was sacked because we didn't achieve top 4. Daniel Levy didn't see it fit that Poch could deliver top 4. We're nowhere near the top 4 now under Jose. We're right down the table. So we have slipped. We've completely slipped under Jose. But I think obviously we're gonna need this investment that we may get if this Super League goes ahead. We're gonna have to use this investment. Like, as you said, you're worried that the owners are just gonna pocket it. I think it could be a positive thing if we actually invest and we sign some great players and we attract some great players to Tottenham and most importantly some decent centre backs to actually help out our defence, because that could be a positive. We could attract some top quality centre backs and actually become a defensive force and create a new decent backline with Harry in attack and Son in attack, and we could actually see some great football. But obviously, everything's up in the air at the moment. No one kind of knows what's going on. And also, I just thought I'd just tell you quickly. I was just reading some news on my phone, and apparently, if these clubs have gone ahead, they can be instantly abolished from the UCL and the Europa League. I've just read on a Madrid source has just posted that UEFA have the power and the jurisdiction to kick out all these clubs, which means that. Yep. Technically, tomorrow, Pochettino could be given the Champions League, as PSG haven't signed up for this. And the Europa League final will be between Villarreal and Roma or something. So this is crazy times. This is historic. And I think Tottenham we've just got to have a bit of stability here. I think there needs to be a lot more transparency. Daniel Levy needs to come out and explain some of these things to the fans, especially with the Jose sacking, because I want to know first and foremost, was it because of results. As Alistair Gold has just said, he said that Jose was sacked based on results, not the Super League. So I think Daniel Levy needs to actually come out and explain what's going on to the fans, because we're owed that, I think, because we've gone through this rubbish for the past months, and Daniel Levy needs to actually explain to all of us.
It does say, Josh, in this very short statement that a further update will follow in due course. Yeah.
Chris, can I just put a point in there following what Josh has said? It must have been pretty bad, worse than we thought or thought it was, for him to sack him at this stage. And I think that is really important to understand, because as fans, unfortunately, we're not privileged to know what's really happening. But I just wonder if the senior players, something's happened. I mean, I don't know if you guys, going back to the weekend's result, noticed the interview with Jose after the match. He looked a relieved man, or looked like a man, a dead man walking. There was this kind of relaxed approach. And the guy I was doing the watch along with, we both sort of said, that's not the Jose we're used to seeing after post-match. He wasn't angry. He seemed like he was already in the top 4, or I don't know, he seemed relaxed. He didn't seem angry. And I just wonder if he'd been told, you're a loss away from, I wonder if that conversation had been already had. And I do think, guys, that the environment, you don't go into a cup final week sacking your manager. The only reason you do it, because it's got so bad, you have no choice but to do it. So I just wonder if now, one thing we'll see how it goes with the next few games. But I think one thing we have to appreciate, that it must have been worse and more toxic maybe than we realised. Because I don't think Levy would have wanted to sack him before a cup final. If anyone can pull off a one-off result in a cup final, it's Jose Mourinho. Yeah. If anyone can do it, he's the man. So I think there's a lot more to this than we're all, unfortunately, we can all appreciate. And I really do think the dressing room, there was too much unrest. Lloris said it a few weeks ago, and I've never seen an interview like it. Sonny was almost crying after the last game, has to say, we've got no chance the way we're playing and the way it is behind the scenes. And I think it did become untenable, because I can't imagine, Levy wanting to sack him before this huge game on the weekend, just because he doesn't fancy him, on the way we've been playing. I think it was more than just the way we've been playing. I think it was more than just results. There's a lot more to this, and I think just results, which is what I know you mentioned was said. We had to sack him based on results. I think he sacked him based on, unfortunately, maybe a toxic environment in the dressing room.
Well, we certainly saw smiles from Hugo Lloris and Sergio Aurier after the game. Perhaps they knew.
Maybe as French teammates of Paul Pogba, they were saying, Paul's gone and done that, because they're all French teammates, and they were laughing about it, saying, well done, Paul, or, maybe they were giving him credit because they're all French teammates. Let's not forget.
It's all well and good giving Paul Pogba credit, but we need to remember, he may have came out and said what he said, but he's won nothing under Ole Gunnar and won 3 trophies under Mourinho. So whenever we come to a point in football where we'd rather have a friend in charge and win 0, rather than be motivated, hear some harsh truths and get your arse out on the pitch and start winning games and winning trophies. When have we come to a point where I'd rather a friend is a manager and win nothing? And this is probably why we win nothing at top. You know what I mean? Because we'd rather have managers in charge who's pally and everything else with the friends. Regardless, the players need to go.
All of us Tottenham fans felt that we had a real identity and we loved the style and the way that we played. Yes, Pochettino didn't get us over that line, but I felt that if he stayed there, he would have been very close to do so. And if he was back properly, he would have done that. Now, Dave, let's stay with you, because Will Stewart writes now, the Jose Outers win. Looks like Ted Lasso's replacement wasn't too far off the mark, David, with this new Super League. Silver Surfer writes here, when will Daniel Levy take responsibility for failures? Now, surely, as Josh said earlier, we've got, the next appointment is absolutely key, isn't it? Tottenham need, for me, Tottenham need to win this League Cup on Sunday as a start. All of this mess, all of this Jose Mourinho sacking now, all of what Pochettino said about the rebuild, whoever comes in now, does Harry Kane, does Heung-min Son, do players like this stay at the club for next season, wanting all of this rebuild yet again, a brand new manager coming in, they're getting older. Surely they want trophies. Surely they want silverware.
Look, I'll be honest with you. If I was Harry Kane, as much as I love the club, being honest, I'd be out of here now after this season. Look, he loved Pochettino. you know, they obviously, everyone felt under Pochettino we could have went on to greatness. All we needed to do was just get rid of a few, bring in a few. It didn't happen. They let him down. So they brought in Jose Mourinho. And I think, look, maybe that part of that was probably to appease the likes of Kane, Son, Lloris, players like that in the dressing room, bring in another manager where maybe they have visions where they can win something. And now we're at a point where we're going to have to sack Jose. Look, we're going to have to bring in a manager more or less that's going to have a philosophy, you know, a way of playing. But not only that, we're going to have to let him clear, like Pochettino was allowed, clear out, you know, players. And it has to be a big clear out and bring in players. But look, it's not only just appointing a manager. We also have to now back the manager. This is the thing. We now have to back the manager. We have to put everything in place on the football structure side of Tottenham in place for this manager to succeed. And this has been the problem. Like, you know, Pochettino wasn't back properly. Mourinho, okay, was back to an extent, but he wasn't back to it. Like the main players here, the main problem is the players, and nothing is going to change until we rotate these players. And I don't want to hear any excuses this summer that we can't do this, we can't do that. It's come to a point where the board have put us in a situation where they have to do it. No excuses. I don't care. They have to do it. They have to find the money. Just quickly on this, in terms of this new European Super League as well, I would much rather earn the right to be in Europe than just giving it and doing it because of the money. People can say the money is great, but look, these clubs have been earning money from day one, since the end of time. You know what I mean? There's no way any of these clubs, if they ran themselves properly, should be in a position where they need to take the 300 and something million to join the Super League. No way whatsoever. We should earn the right to be in that Super League, and that's it. That's where I stand on that as well. But just to go back to what you were asking me, Chris, about the manager, like, look, the next manager to come in with these players we have here, he's not getting any better out of them. The next manager that comes in has to be able to bring in another 5 to 6 players.
Absolutely. Dave Brown, let's come to you. Southampton next in 48 hours time. Of course, the cup final on Sunday. You know, how do you see these games going now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you normally get a new manager bounce, but I mean, I don't know about an interim manager bounce. But it's you know, no one knows what we're going to get, because I mean, hopefully, if he's gone, if he's been toxic, if you know, if you've got a familiar face in the dressing room, Ryan Mason, then the players have got to play for themselves. They've got to play for a bit of pride. I mean, where was the pride? We haven't seen them, you know, playing for the shirt. And really, Harry Kane has got to step up. And I think, in a way, he ought to make him captain. I mean, and really set the stall out. Let's have an outfield player as a captain, someone that all the players look up to. Let's have him as captain. Let's change that philosophy. Let's start from day one, and I think we can get a bounce on against Southampton. And who knows? You know, we can bring back Ali and Bale to the fold, and because let's face it, we can't do much worse than we have been doing.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it's still all to play for. Of course, it is. We're not going to get into the Champions League. We're still fighting for the Europa League, but yeah, it's going to be interesting watch. But you know, it's hopefully the whole team will be different. Let's face it, all the old familiar faces, will be coming back, and let's hope we can play a Spurs, because Ryan Mason knows how Tottenham plays under Pochettino. Yeah. So he's a Pochettino man. He Pochettino gave him his debut, so he knows what's required. So let's give him a couple of games. He can't do much worse than Mourinho, because Mourinho was just like walking in treacle, wasn't it? It was just so dull to watch. No one was looking forward to the games, and this came on, and you felt like you had to watch them, but you weren't excited at all. Can
I just throw it out there to all of you, and feel free to come in. Do any of you feel sorry for Jose Mourinho?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
In what way, David?
Look, I genuinely believe, look, he's tried to get the very best out of a lot of these players. Like, look, he's tried different formations. He's tried bringing different players in and out. I think he has tried an awful lot. Look, some people can say about his man management, that's fair enough. But in terms of what I've seen, like in terms of formations, you know, the amount of players he's used to try and get a song out of a lot of these, I do feel sorry for him in that regard, yeah. Because, look, ultimately we can sit here and complain about the style of football, but Pochettino was 14th when we got sacked, and they stopped playing his brand of football when that time came around. You know what I mean? From that whole season, they just stopped playing his type of football. We just don't have the players to be able to keep hold of the ball. In terms of that stat that we're top of giving away most missed places in our own half, how do we expect to play football? We just do not have the players. These players, a lot of these players are clumsy. When the pressure's on, they can't do the basics. And I do genuinely believe Jose has tried a lot with this club, a lot with these players. And it's a sinking ship. I think it was a sinking ship when he came in, to be honest with you. You heard what Pochettino was saying in the press conferences and everything else. So, look, people could say, yeah, he took the job. Yeah, of course he took the job. You know, it was offered to him. Any manager looking at, you know, after Pochettino probably would have believed they can come in and change this around. But when you get here, I think it's a different story when you see how technically bad some of these players are. And I do feel sorry for Jose. I do think he's tried everything.
Yeah. Josh, Spurs debate. Let's come to you. Will Stewart writes here, this was planned, guys, from the first day. Sack clause, the wage structure of Jose's contract was unusual at the time. Sonny's contract not being signed all makes sense now, don't you think? Now, what does worry me as a Spurs fan is the fact that Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, are they going to wait around for yet another rebuild, another manager to come in? You know, is it worrying times yet again for us Spurs fans this summer?
I think with Kane, Chris, he's Daniel's baby. He signed him up on a long contract. I think we've seen with Daniel Levy that he will have a gentleman's agreement with you. But if you've got years on your contract, he will dictate whether you're sold or not. You know, and I think Kane's in a situation where even if he wants to leave, he needs Levy on side. And if Levy says, no, I need another season from you, then Kane has to sit it out. You know, it's a situation where Levy has done well with Kane's contract. You know, signing him on that long contract when he got the contracts over the line, that's where Levy's good at his job. You know, in one aspect. But I think Sonny's more of a worry for me, to be honest. I think Kane will do another season at Spurs. If the Super League stuff goes ahead and Levy promises investment into the squad and Levy brings in a man that maybe even someone that Harry Kane will be happy to work with, Harry Kane might give Spurs another 12 months. Football's very, 12 months just fly by. You know, it's very quick in the way that we can go from what we were before Poch to getting to the Champions League final and getting in the top four consistently and then back to where we are today. Football's very fluid. So I think Harry Kane will respect that and stay another season. But my worry is Heung-min Son, and he needs to be tied down to a contract this summer. You know, we can't go into the next season without Son on a new contract. So my worry is him. Where does he go? I mean, most clubs in Europe would want Heung-min Son. You know, who wouldn't want Heung-min Son? Great professional. Very little, you saw the documentary with his family, with his dad. You don't get players like this, where the dad is so involved and he's so humble, almost like an 18-year-old, who goes home into his bedroom and goes to bed at 10 o'clock. He's not out there doing things other footballers do. So he's the whole package, Heung-min Son. So I worry about him. We need to really give Heung-min Son the confidence that we are going somewhere. And this transfer window coming up this summer is huge. It really gives us a chance to sort of say we're back. We might not be in the top four. Yes, we've been through a turbulent 18 months, but we've got a new manager in, and Levy has to spend. COVID.
Josh, under Jose Mourinho, all along you were saying the money's not there. Get rid of Jose Mourinho, and now all of a sudden you're saying there's money available. How does that work?
Well, no, Levy has to make it happen. Levy has to make it happen. We've got. For me, but under
when Jose Mourinho was in charge, all throughout you were sitting there saying it's just not realistic. We don't have the money, and now all of a sudden we're saying he has to make it happen.
No, so whoever he brings in has to be backed with money. I mean, Jose was given money. It's not like they didn't spend. But I'm saying whatever Levy can do financially now to get us back in the top four, he has to max out what he can do. We don't know what that is. Is it 100 million? What is it? 70 million? 120 million? Something needs to change. from the transfer side, because we can't act like a super club or a top four club, or say we're a top four club and not act like it from head to toe. For me, the club has to say there's 100 million, and that has to be 100 million. That's what top four clubs do. They spend money every season, and they plug holes, and they refresh, and then they sell well as well. Get rid of these guys that are not, we know Eric Dyer is not going to go on to become a superstar. I think we've all agreed that it's just not going to happen for him. It's probably not going to happen for Ben Davies. It's definitely not going to happen for Serge Aurier, who's on his last year as well. Hugo Lloris. There is a huge refresh. And with that, we're going to have to spend 100 million, or whatever it is, whatever that magical number is, 120, 80 million. I don't know what the magical number is that Tottenham Hotspur can afford. But whatever that is, it needs to be spent for me, Chris, because do you know what? We can't go another season without Champions League football. We can't just be mid-table flirting with Europe, because that's what we were. We had a taste of the high life. We didn't back it. We didn't, Levy didn't back it for whatever reason. And we're now slowly becoming what we were. And I think this is the opportunity for Levy to have one last chance to put his foot down and just back the manager that comes in, back the recruitment. And we might just be onto something then with the new stadium. But if he doesn't do it this summer, we're starting to go back into what we used to be in. That's my worry, is we've got one last chance to get it done. And Heung-min Son and Harry Kane give us that chance.
Do you know what's crazy, though? Tottenham sacked Jose Mourinho today, and Jose Mourinho now becomes... he's not won a trophy at Spurs. It's the first time he's not won a trophy at a club he's been at. And when Jose Mourinho took charge, a couple of my friends said, what's the betting that Jose Mourinho will not win a trophy at Spurs, and it will be exactly like this, and exactly how it's panned out. It's just unbelievable. Now, I just want to, last question for you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. Last question for you all. How would you sum up Jose Mourinho's 17 months at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? And you personally, what do you want to see happen? Dave Brown, let's start with you.
It's been a roller coaster, let's face it. He came in with the Amazon documentary, the Jose Mourinho show. That's what it turned into. He came in with all these promises, and Levy had that we were going to get top four, and that was the model. It hasn't turned out that way. In the first season, we scraped into the Europa League. We had the pandemic in the middle of it all. The only thing you can say, he's got the best out of Tanguy and Ndombele, because I think that bloke was on his way out when during the pandemic, during the shutdown, and he sort of got him round, and we had all them things with him knocking on his door and all the rest of it. So we got through that, and then we did do bad when the football restarted in July. And we had some decent results. I mean, the Bournemouth thing was a disaster, and we saw glimpses of what the football was going to be like, and none of us liked it. And I think the legacy of Mourinho's time is going to be the turgid football. I mean, no one's got any real, looking back, to think it was a good time. It wasn't a good time, because after the Pochettino, trouble is, after the Pochettino era, where he really overachieved, Pochettino, let's face it, for the investment that he was given, he massively overachieved. Mourinho's come in, normally showered millions on him. He wasn't given millions. He was in the bargain basement era, really, when he had his summer 7 players. It was bargain basements, loans, and 15, 20 million here or there. It's hasn't have been a good time, and I feel for the next manager who comes in, because Levy's lost £150 million this year on the. The results will show £150 million loss. So I don't know where this 120 million Josh is talking about, because he's lost he's borrowed heavily in the market. He's borrowed, we've got £604 million worth of debt. He's borrowed money from the government, from the Bank of England, on about 0.5%, very low interest rates. the Bank of England have said you can't spend that money on transfers. That's stipulated in the deal. So he can't spend that money on transfers. So he's lost 150 million. You know, I can't really see where this big, massive outlay is coming from. Well, I don't think many teams will want the players that we want to get rid of. Really don't, because they're going to be hard up as well. So it is really a mess. And I said it on Friday night. The whole club is in a bit of a mess before all this started, all this kicked off. So no one was enjoying the football. So the legacy of Mourinho is sorry, you know, his time is up. Come in, JM. Let somebody else have a go, because let's put the smile back on the faces. The players weren't smiling. They weren't enjoying going to work. They weren't enjoying their football. Ryan Mason can put the smile back on the faces this week. Let's so that the people enjoy going to work and playing for the football club, and that's what the fans want.
Josh, let's come to you. Do you think it gives Tottenham more of a chance of winning the League Cup this Sunday? And I know that's such a crazy thing to say when Jose Mourinho has got this record. But when I look back at Jose Mourinho's 17 months at Spurs, I think of two games that summed Jose Mourinho's time up at Tottenham. The 0-0 draw at the end of last season at Bournemouth, 102 minutes of Premier League football, not even a shot on target, a very, very boring, dull game. One of the worst games I've watched as a Tottenham Hotspur fan in my life. And then, of course, earlier this season, battering Manchester United 6-1 at Old Trafford. And that is what the problem has been, isn't it? The inconsistency of 1 week you're drawing 0-0 away at Bournemouth, and then, you know, the next week you're beating Manchester United 6-1. You know, we were sitting top of the league back in December. You know, if you'd have told most Tottenham fans in December, in April, Jose Mourinho would be sacked. You know, it's very doubtful Spurs will get a European spot. It's a crazy season, isn't it?
Yeah, it is literally the definition of inconsistent. It's the definition of just like it's been a shocking. It's shocking in all sense of the word. Like at the beginning of the season, as you said, we started well. We did get some results. We beat City. We beat Man United. Not just beat. We absolutely demolished Man United. That was probably one of the best Tottenham performances. Although Man United got a red card, it was one of the best Tottenham performances I think I've ever seen. We ripped them apart. We did a complete Jose Mourinho masterclass on Man City at home, beat them 2-0. We just, as you went to the Arsenal game where Son scored that wonder goal and we battered Arsenal 2-0 at home. It did start well, and sadly, as we've said before, that West Ham game destroyed our season. After that 3-3, and we capitulated in that game at the beginning of the season. That was it. And I think that was the moment where Jose started playing defensive football. We shifted from this beautiful, fluid attacking football that we were playing, like at Southampton. We played some really silky football, got 5 goals. And then suddenly after that West Ham game, we started trying to defend 1-0 leads. Jose Mourinho changed his football style with our football club, and it all went wrong. It completely went wrong. We started bottoming it every week. We were dropping points to Wolves, Crystal Palace, everywhere, here, there, and everywhere. And it started going wrong. And ever since, it's come to this date. He's been sacked today, and I think it's been a gradual downfall since then. But as David was saying, we were talking in the past 20 minutes about getting Champions League, getting Europa League. It doesn't matter anymore. It's a bit shocking saying it, but there is no Champions League or Europa League anymore. We have left the European Clubs Association. We are now in this Super League. It's not confirmed or anything. It's been created, and as David said, yeah, we are in debt, and obviously the Bank of England isn't going to allow us to start splashing the cash on transfers when we're £1.2 billion in debt. However, with this new Super League, although we, as I think it was Dathy in the comments section was saying, we get this 350 mil injection just for putting our name on the paper, which we've already done. And I do think that is a contribution to why Daniel Levy has just sacked Mourinho, because what I'm reading as well is that it has cost £15 million to sack Mourinho today. But it also means with this new Super League, I was reading last night, the viewing rights deal is 3.5 billion. that means that we take a huge amount of money from viewing, because it's a trickle down from the viewing rights money. For the Premier League, I think Sky has like 300 million. It's like 300 million or something. So it's the multiples in this are huge. We are going to receive much more income from this league, and I think we are going to be able to attract better players, because why do players want to compete at the top level? Because like in the Champions League, people want to compete in the Champions League, and now that level is the European Super League. So people are going to want to come to Tottenham. We're going to be able to attract players.
You're talking, Josh, as though 350 million is just sitting there in a pot. That money's going to go on players. I don't think it's going to go on players at all.
No, clear the debts of the club.
Yeah, I think we've got to clear those debts first, and I think it's going to be more than 350 million. If in the club statement it said at first it's like 10 billion for the 12 clubs. It's a whole financial framework. That's what they called it. It's the direct quote was, there's a financial framework because the UEFA model is unsustainable with the pandemic. That's literally what it says in the statement. So I think Daniel Levy has obviously made this decision for the betterment of our club. I think if this could be a masterstroke, it might not. Like you've said, this could be a catastrophe. We could end up getting kicked out of the Premier League. It could be an absolute disaster. But hopefully, we've got to believe in these people who run our football clubs. Although I think a lot of people do have distrust with them. They don't trust these Daniel Levy types and the owners of other football clubs. There's a lot of angst amongst supporters. I know that Manchester United supporters don't like their owners. Liverpool fans don't like their owners. There's a lot of this going around. However, this could be an evolution in football. This could be good for the game, a bit like the creation of the Premier League. And I think there may be some compromises. They may add relegation and promotion. I think that would be better. I think a closed shop isn't a good idea. I think it means that football will just be stagnant. I think there will be compromises, and I think this could be good for Tottenham.
Just in terms of that, Josh, you're not concerned that, they never kind of put it to any of the fans. It's kind of, stuff the fans, we're going to do what we want anyway, even though the fans are the ones that buy the jerseys, fill up the stadium. Obviously not now, but have been the ones to fill up the stadium. Not even considering asking them. These fans are going to have to fork out to go across Europe, more times than they ever have done before. Where are these people that love Tottenham Hotspur going to get money to do this?
I think they're interested in making new fans, David. They're interested in making new fans. They're not necessarily worried about the current. That's what I feel. It's like that.
So just screw people like people that have been following the club for 50, 60 years. Just screw them over so they can get a new generation of fans.
There's billions of people around the world that love football now, and especially in the States. We know Asia's been on the high. Over the last 20 years. They're interested in new fans and new fan bases.
Well, sure, they support the club anyway, regardless of the European Super League. Like you said, we already have fans in American Asia. They support regardless of the Super League.
It's growth, isn't it? They're going to look at it from commercial growth. They want more David Harris's and Josh's to spend more money, and they want to spread their wings far and wide.
You know what?
Last bit of money they're getting is at the cup final next week.
Well, what will be interesting, I go to every game, obviously not behind closed doors, but home and away, I follow Spurs everywhere. So it's going to be very interesting for a fan like me. Every other week, am I going to be going to, to France, Spain, Germany,
clocking up the points, Chris?
It's going to be very interesting.
Chris, if you're sitting there sipping on the finest wine.
Watching and following Tottenham is going to be a full-time job, I think. Yep. Price rights is now onwards and upwards. The ball is now in Daniel Levy's court to make it pay off. That's his job. Good luck, Mr. Levy. And I think he's got a very hard job on his hands. But and then time is of the essence. Rights, no way in Levy's mind that he'd choose Ryan Masonry over the most successful EFL winner versus City. That's what does surprise me. The timing of this. Not putting Jose Mourinho in charge of Spurs to get us over that line. I know lots of us have different opinions on that. Expect Harry Kane and Heung-min Son to go while Deadwood players remain. Josh, Spurs debate. Let's come to you. What do you think is next now for Spurs?
I think with the Super League, that's just thrown everyone. That's just thrown absolutely everyone. If it is, if it is 100%, we're going to go ahead and get all this money that Josh has been talking about. Then I think that can't be a bad thing, as much as I think money's ruined football from head to toe. I don't think Manchester City and Chelsea should have been allowed to even bring in the sort of wealth that they brought in. That wasn't even football money. All this external money that's come into the game, for me, it's ruined football anyways. I've lost a lot. I think the fairness of football was lost when they started letting these rich owners come in. I think that was wrong from day one. But now moving ahead, Chris, it is about money. It is about, unfortunately, whether you like or not, the game's more of a business than it ever was. It's more commercial than it ever was. And if we don't jump on the train, we sort of get left behind, whether we like it or not. If we want to be a nice, cozy club that runs itself on ticket sales and shirt sales, we're going to get left behind. We have to be part of these major global movements. And Levy is a commercial man. He's one of the best in terms of that side. Don't you worry about whether Levy's done his due diligence on this. He knows absolutely exactly what he's getting himself involved with. Yeah. And we might be looking back in 3 years or even in 12 months saying, wow, you know, it's like the IPL, when the IPL, the Indian Cricket League in India, that's worth billions now. And it started as a kind of franchise model. And now it's everyone wants to be a part of it. The owners are absolutely loving it. And they just broke away from cricket and took the best players with them. So this could be something that, you know, we sit here in a few months saying, wow, you know, like we're part of this elite group. And the finances it brings with it. Listen, if anyone needs a bit of money, is us. You know, Man City don't need it as much as us. We need the money. So if we're getting an opportunity to sit on the VIP table and be part of these super rich clubs that are going to, you know, that are going to be all over the world, all over everyone's television screen, all over the world, all over the networks, and we're going to be suddenly involved in that pack, we've got to take it, Chris. For me, we have to get on. I know it's not what we want, because we want to be, you know, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, not someone's toy, some sort of business toy, but the football has become a business, more than ever so. So we either jump on and get moving with time and with the future of the game, or we sit back and miss out. And for me, if Levy has negotiated us into this deal, which it looks like he has, we're not a super club, but we're going to be playing with these clubs, then in a way, it's great news. I think it's good news. I think it's good news. We'll see what happens, but I think it's good that we're in the conversation, Chris. We need the money and we need the exposure.
Well, I will be doing a separate stream later on this evening about the Super League. It's funny, I was messaging most of you whilst the information was coming through about Jose Mourinho being sacked, so hence why we're doing this one. But while we've been on this stream, William Hill, the channel sponsors, have just emailed me with the latest odds for the next Tottenham Hotspur manager. Nagelsmann is currently favourite at 3-1. Brendan Rodgers is 5-1. Nuno Espirito Santo is 8-1. Rafa Benitez 9-1. Scott Parker and Eddie Howe at 10-1. David, you've got your hands over your head. What are you thinking?
Chris, you know me. I used to come on and say Eddie Howe is the next manager after Mourinho as a joke. Oh, you know what I mean? And he's on the short list. Look, Nagelsmann, to be honest with you, I don't want. He plays that system that we've tried this season with 3 centre-backs, 2 full-backs. We can't play that way. We don't have the players to play that way. Rodgers, look, I'm not sold on him. Look, you can be on the Rodgers hype train up until 30 games and then it all falls apart. You know, that kind of plays along with the bottle job tags that we have at this club. Rafa Benitez, not sure. I don't know. To be honest with you, Chris, I don't know where I want to go from here. But I just know I'm going to give the next manager the same support I gave Jose anyway. So it doesn't really, well, it does matter, but I'm still going to support them. But I don't know where to go from here, to be honest with you. I really don't. Just in terms of the Super League, look, I actually don't think it's going to go ahead, you know. I think every country around will put every sort of roadblock in their way. I think it's going to be a long. I just don't think they'll get it off the ground, to be honest.
David, hopefully I'll get you on the stream later on this evening to talk more about the European Super League. But Ryan Mason, you know, we're expecting now to be in charge of Wednesday's Premier League game against Southampton, and you know, it'd be interesting to see whether Tottenham make an appointment or another interim appointment for the Carabao Cup. David, if I was to ask you, who do you want as next Tottenham Hotspur manager? Can you give me an answer? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting here, I can't even give you an answer. I don't know, because like I've said, you go from Pochettino, a fantastic coach, you go to serial winner in Jose Mourinho. You know, do you go for another very experienced manager again? Do you go for a young coach? What do you want to see?
No, for me, look, Tottenham have to go for an experienced coach now. They have to, especially with the situation we're in now. I think they have to go with a serious coach. Look, people can sit here and think all the problems are gone away and now Mourinho's gone. That's just not the case. It's nowhere near the case. A lot of the problems are still going to be here. Look, I actually think we're going to win the cup final next season. I know there's no shock to that. Everyone calls me deluded. But I actually think we're going to win the League Cup next week. But you know, the problems are still here. The problems are still here. The crap players, mentality. You know what I mean? Everything else. All the problems are still here. If people think the problems are gone because Jose is gone, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's just not the case. In terms of where we go, Chris, I don't like you. I agree with you. I don't have another manager. I don't know what to do from here yet. Suppose we probably need to sit back for a couple of days and probably, you know, have a look at things. But to bring in a young manager right now with this group of players, I think it's just setting them up for failure as well. I don't think a young man can come in and get this group of players going. So I don't know where we go from here. To be honest with you, if we don't have a manager in place by next week, I'd give Ledley King the job going out there for the City game, to be honest with you. That'd be me, club legend. Why not? Give him his day out. Give him a day out at Wembley. You know what I mean?
Well, we certainly need a win in the Premier League, and we certainly need a trophy. Any of you want to give me any score predictions and your prediction for whether we will win this cup? I'm with you, David. I think, you know, I've said all along, Jose Mourinho, you know, whether he's our manager or not, I believe that Tottenham will win a trophy this season. And do you know what? I will be destroyed as a Tottenham Hotspur fan Sunday evening if we haven't won that trophy, because I've told myself all season, you know, perhaps deluded, perhaps absolutely stupidity, I keep telling myself that we're going to win another trophy. You know, it's been so long. I say it every stream that I do. 13 years without a trophy. It's just absolutely madness. But surely we have to get over that line. Surely.
We will. Look, I just want to send a message to the fan base. And I actually said this after the Everton game. Like, look, regardless of people's opinions on the manager's situation and what's going on now, come Friday, like between now and Friday, I encourage everyone, you know, get everything off your chest, get everything out of your system. But from Friday until Sunday, I want everyone to get behind this team. I want everybody to get behind this team. Show them, like, you know, I know it's hard, but show them your love. And let's just support them for this one game, because us fans, we deserve this final. But all the shit we've had to go through this season, we deserve this day out.
Yeah.
So why not try to enjoy it? I know there's a lot of negative, but from Friday to Sunday, let's just get behind these boys. Even if we can salvage the season with a Carabao Cup, I'll take it at this point. Is it what we wanted? By no means, nowhere near what we wanted. But I will take it at this stage. I really would. And I just want everyone from Friday to Sunday just to get behind the boys. And, you know, hopefully we, you know, because look, they do see social media and everything else, you know. So if we can create that kind of positive atmosphere between Friday and Sunday, who knows? But that's just my message. I just want everyone, regardless of everything else going on, just get behind the team from Friday to Sunday.
You're absolutely right. And I think that the fans, you know, the majority of the fans, I think, will be very happy about this decision, because social media, you know, this season has been so up and down, very toxic at times. You know, even when people like you, David, have defended Jose Mourinho, you know, whatever opinion you've had this season as a Spurs fan, you know, other people disagree with it. Yeah. But ultimately, and I've said this many, many times, ultimately, we all want the same thing. We all want success at our club. We all want to see us lifting trophies, regardless of who the manager is, because we will always be here longer than any manager will be. Yeah. So, you know, it's all about the fans, and it's all about the, you know, giving the fans success and giving us, you know, smiles to put on our faces, because we certainly do need them. David, Josh, David, you know, only me could get two Davids and two Joshes on the same. Thank you very much for your time, and let's hope that Tottenham can lift this trophy, you know, without Jose Mourinho now, and let's hope that Tottenham just make the right decision in the future and get us a manager in that will get us over that line and get us some silverware that we desperately need. Thank you very much, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Let's have a goal.
They need us now more.